Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeannie, and today we're talking about something that native speakers don't want you to know. Seriously. Have you ever wondered why some people can sound exactly like a native speaker, while others, well, they sound like they're reading from a textbook?
And I'm Brian. That's what everyone wants to know, right? Like, what's the secret? Is it genetics? Years of study?
That's what they want you to think, but honestly, native speakers are using one simple hack that most English teachers never talk about, and it's not what you'd expect.
Okay, you've got my attention. What is it?
We're going to break down exactly what native speakers do unconsciously, the thing they literally don't realize they're doing. And by the end of this episode, you're going to be able to do it too.
Before we get to the hack, let's be real about the problem. What makes someone not sound like a native speaker? Is it just pronunciation?
No, and this is important. A lot of people think it's just about individual sounds, like if I can say th correctly or if I can pronounce R properly, I'm golden. But that's only like 20% of the equation.
What's the other 80%?
Rhythm, stress, intonation, the music of English. Native speakers don't just pronounce words clearly, they play the language like an instrument. Every syllable has a specific weight, a specific timing, a specific pitch.
So when someone has a strong accent, even if their individual sounds are good, something still sounds off.
Exactly. It's like listening to someone read poetry without understanding the emotion. The words are all there, but the music is missing. And this is where most English learners get stuck. They focus so hard on individual sounds that they completely miss the bigger picture.
That makes sense. So how many people do you think have this problem?
I'd say 9 out of 10 advanced learners still struggle with this. They might have great grammar, amazing vocabulary, but they still sound not quite native. It's frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine working for years and still feeling like something's not quite right.
Right? And that's where this native speaker hack comes in. Once you understand it, everything changes.
Okay, so what is this hack? Give it to us.
It's called stress-timed rhythm, and it's the secret that native speakers use completely unconsciously. Here's what's happening. English is what linguists call a stress-timed language.
Stress-timed? What does that mean?
It means that native speakers don't spend equal time on every syllable. Instead, they spend a consistent amount of time between stress syllables, the important, emphasized ones. Non-stress syllables get squeezed, reduced, sometimes almost disappeared. Let me give you an example. Listen to this word, photograph. Native speakers say it like photograph. The stress falls on the toe part, and that beat stays consistent.
Okay, and the other syllables?
They get compressed. Watch this. Photograph. Do you hear how the first fo and the last graph get faster, quieter, less important? That's the hack. The native speaker's brain is automatically spacing out the stress syllables evenly while compressing everything else.
So if a learner says all the syllables with equal weight and timing,
It sounds robotic, stiff, unnatural. That's why it doesn't sound native. They're giving every syllable equal importance instead of creating that rhythm. Example 1. Learner style, even stress. I want to tell you something important. Example 2. Native style, stress timed. I want to tell you something important. Compressed, musical, natural flow.
Wow, the difference is huge. Even though the words are the same, it sounds totally different.
Exactly. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding the pattern. Once you know that English works this way, you can start training yourself to do it.
So how does someone actually practice this? Is it hard?
It's not hard, but it does take intentional practice. And this is where most people fail. They know about it intellectually, but never train it into muscle memory.
All right, let's get practical. If someone listening right now wants to fix their accent rhythm, what's the first thing they should do?
Step 1. Identify the stressed syllable in a word. This is crucial. In English, primary stress usually falls on the first or second syllable, but there are patterns.
Are there rules for where the stress goes?
There are patterns, but English isn't perfectly rule-based here. That's the annoying part. But if you're listening to native speakers constantly, your brain will start picking up the patterns naturally. Step 2. Once you know where the stress is, mark it. Write it down. Photograph. See that capital? That's your visual reminder of where your emphasis goes.
and then?
Step 3, and this is the game changer, speak it aloud with exaggerated stress. Make the stress syllable much louder and longer than it would normally be, like unnaturally loud. This trains your mouth and brain to create that contrast. Yes, it feels weird. Yes, you'll sound ridiculous. That's exactly the point. You're training against your natural instinct to pronounce everything equally.
How long does this take? Like, how many repetitions?
If you do this intentionally for 15 minutes a day, you'll start noticing changes in 2 to 3 weeks. But if you want native level fluency with rhythm, you're looking at consistent practice for 3 to 6 months.
That's actually not that bad when you think about it. People spend that much time on individual sounds.
Exactly. And the beautiful part? Once you internalize stress-timed rhythm, it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's just how you speak.
What about when you're actually having a conversation? Can you really focus on all this rhythm stuff in real time?
Great question. At first, no. You'll be very conscious. But, and this is where deliberate practice pays off, after you've trained it enough, your brain automates it. It's like learning to drive. At first, you're hyper-aware of every movement. Eventually, you're just driving. And here's an advanced hack. Native speakers are lazy in a specific way. They reduce unstressed syllables aggressively. Going to becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. They're not being sloppy. They're being efficient with their rhythm.
So learners should do the same?
Once you master the basic rhythm, yes, but I wouldn't recommend it until you're confident. Start clean, add the reductions later.
Why does English specifically work this way? Like, why is it stress-timed and not some other way?
Good question. It comes down to how English evolved. English is a language that relies heavily on word stress to carry meaning. The stress pattern is actually part of the word's identity. Think about record versus record. The stress position changes the word's meaning entirely. Native speakers automatically recognize that stress pattern, so the language evolved to use stress as a primary feature.
So getting the stress wrong actually makes understanding harder?
It can. If you say record when you mean record, there's confusion. Native speakers won't even recognize what word you're trying to say sometimes.
That must be frustrating for learners.
It is. But once they know about stress-timed rhythm, everything makes sense. And more importantly, they realize it's not about being naturally talented at accents. It's about understanding the system. And that changes everything, because systems can be learned. Talent is just understanding the pattern early.
Can we walk through a realistic sentence, something someone might actually say?
Absolutely. Let's use this sentence. I think the presentation was fantastic. Let's mark the stress syllables. I think the presentation was fantastic.
So the stresses are on think, ta, and fan?
Close. It's think, tation, and fantastic. Now watch what happens when a native speaker says this. They create a rhythm where the time between think and ta and fan is roughly consistent. I think the presentation was fantastic.
Notice how the, pres, and was all got compressed and rushed. The native speaker spent most of their time on those stress syllables. That's the rhythm.
The non-native version sounds like they're reading from a script. Exactly. And that's because they're giving the language no rhythm, no music. They're treating all syllables as equally important.
Okay, so if someone wants to fix their accent right now, what are the immediate steps?
Number 1, pick 3 sentences you say regularly. Mark the stressed syllables. Practice saying them with exaggerated stress on those syllables for 5 minutes a day.
Number 2, listen to native speakers, podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, but specifically listen for the rhythm. Don't worry about understanding, just listen for where they emphasize.
Number 3, record yourself. Compare your stress pattern to a native speaker's. Are you compressing the unstressed syllables? Are you stretching the stressed ones?
Simple steps, but they sound incredibly effective.
They are. And here's the thing. This is the hack that native speakers use and never think about. But now you know. Now you can use it intentionally. That's your advantage.
So while other learners are memorizing words and perfecting individual sounds,
you're training the actual music of English. And that's what takes you from good accent to native-like accent. If you try this and start noticing changes in your accent, comment below and let us know. We love hearing your progress. And remember, you're not trying to fake being a native speaker. You're learning to speak English the way millions of native speakers do unconsciously.
So while other learners are memorizing words and perfecting individual sounds,
you're training the actual music of English. And that's what takes you from good accent to native-like accent. If you try this and start noticing changes in your accent, comment below and let us know. We love hearing your progress. And remember, you're not trying to fake being a native speaker. You're learning to speak English the way millions of native speakers do unconsciously.
So while other learners are memorizing words and perfecting individual sounds,
you're training the actual music of English. And that's what takes you from good accent to native-like accent. If you try this and start noticing changes in your accent, comment below and let us know. We love hearing your progress. And remember, You're not trying to fake being a native speaker. You're learning to speak English the way millions of native speakers do unconsciously.
So while other learners are memorizing words and perfecting individual sounds,
You're training the actual music of English, and that's what takes you from good accent to native-like accent. Thanks for watching.
thanks for watching.